Hey, what's up everybody? It's Julius DeBerry with Majestic Studios, and today we have a quick video for you where we're going to talk about the Korg Kronos, and we're going to combine it with Ableton Live. We're going to use the Korg Kronos to send MIDI messages to Ableton and tell Ableton to launch some clips. I hope you guys like it. Let's jump right in it. All right, what's up everybody? So today, like I said, we are going to discuss combining the Korg Kronos with Ableton Live. And the process that we're going to go through today will allow you to use the Kronos to skip between your scenes, your rows of clips within your Ableton Live sessions. So we're going to combine Ableton Live with this screen you see here at the top right, which is the Chronos global MIDI control screen, and the actual Chronos control surface, which is the bottom picture. We're going to combine these three things together in order to control Ableton from your Chronos. All right, so let's take a look at it. All right, first thing we want to look at is the Chronos control panel. All right, this is the Chronos control panel. It consists of 8 knobs, 16 switches, and 9 faders. And combining this global screen here, which has each one of these rows that you see, is going to correlate to one of the parts of the control surface within the Chronos. Let's take a look at this this global screen just a little closer. All right, so first off, how you get to this screen, you're going to start off in your program mode. So to get to that screen, what you want to do is you want to push the global button on your Chronos, which is on the right side of the screen. Push the global button. You'll probably be on the basic screen, which is what you see here. And what you'll want to push is MIDI. And then after you push MIDI, you're going to want to go to external 1. Now, external 2 is another setting as far as your MIDI is concerned, but it's more so allocated to the pads. A lot of people don't even know that the Chronos has on-screen pads inside the keyboard, and that's something that we can talk about at a later date, but just wanted you to know that it was there. But you'll want to reside here on this external screen. All right, so the Chronos has this control surface. And what it allows you to do is you can control almost any parameter in the keyboard from this control surface. These 8 knobs, these 16 switches, and these 9 faders basically are your control center for the Chronos. Well, the Chronos has, in the control panel, it has separate sections. Your timbre tracks, your audio section, your EXT section, your real-time control knobs and karma, and then your tone adjust and EQ. The one that we're going to concentrate is on the EXT, which is the external. So in that control panel, over in that section, if you would just push the EXT button, that is what allows this control panel to control external devices from the Chronos. So any MIDI information that you want sent from your Chronos can be sent from here using this section, the control section, as long as that EXT button is selected. All right, so now once you get into this control surface part where I described to you to get to in your global settings, there are hundreds of external mode setups. 128 to be exact. I said hundreds, that's not right. It's 128. 128 different control surfaces that you can have set up for various messages or things that you want to control from your Chronos. You can have up to 128 different settings. All right, so when you go here, if you look through them, you know, some of them already have MIDI control numbers and stuff set for specific things. And we're going to go into this control surface a little more in another video. This video is going to kind of already assume that you're familiar with the control surface and what its purpose is for. But this is just another way to use it. Okay, so we're going to look at the switches section, which is these 2 rows here. This row in this row. Switches 1 through 8 on the top row, switches 9 through 16 on the second row, and then we'll probably talk a little bit about the sliders. Sliders 1 through 8 and the master slider. But what we want to do is I'm going to leave my Chronos on global channel. The Chronos can send on the global the global channel is MIDI information being sent on all the MIDI channels at once. Within this setting, you can actually change it. If you have a specific channel that you would like your MIDI information sent on, you can set that here. And but for me, it always works for me. I just use the global channel and allow the Chronos to send on all MIDI channels at once. That can make stuff confusing sometimes, but that's the way it is best for me. All right, so the first thing you want to do is the Chronos is going to communicate with your Ableton or with your computer software through CC messages. All right, and what you want to do is you want to put each one of these switches on a different CC message. So you're going to put, I just start at 0, 0, 0, then I just go up increment. Okay, so now the Chronos is set on the first switch. It's going to send MIDI CC 0, 0, 0. On the second switch, it's going to send MIDI CC 0, 0, 1. All the way up to the 16th switch, it's going to send CC 015. Okay, so when we push these buttons, what this is going to do is this is telling the Chronos that, hey, when I push this button, I would like you to send MIDI CC message 007, 006, or whichever button you push. I would like you to send that message out of the global channel to an external device. You know what? Let's go ahead and do the sliders while we're here. Going to do the same thing to them. I'm just going to start at MIDI CC 6016. All right, so now all 16 of our switches and all 9 of our sliders are set to send MIDI information out of the Chronos to our external MIDI devices on all the channels, all 16 MIDI channels at once. All right, so now we're going to go to Ableton Live, and we're going to have a look there. So this is Ableton Live. All right, so everybody knows, you know, people use Ableton to launch clips of music, and it allows everything to stay in time and in tempo and in sync as you go from section to section of your song or from song to song. All right, so what I've done here is I've taken just some general default clips, some loops that were in Ableton, and I just built up, you know, a little 4-bar loop for this example. And when you push this play button here on the end, it plays the tracks. Okay, so I'm going to show you, for example. All right, so as you see, I was able to launch these different compilations of loops just by selecting one of these clip launchers down here on the end. At the end of this video is we want to be able to use our Chronos to change and launch these clips. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we need to set Ableton up to be able to receive information from the Chronos. So let's do that. Push Command, comma, and it's going to open up your preferences screen. There's a couple of things in here that we need to set that will allow the Chronos to send information here. So what we're going to do is down here on this side, the third topic or third tab is link and MIDI. So you want to push that. What you want to do is you want to add the Chronos as the input and the output. The input is probably enough, but because we're only going to be sending information from the Chronos to live to Ableton, we're not going to be sending information from live to the Chronos. So, but just for the sake of the example, go ahead and put the Chronos as the input and the output in the control surface area. All right, something very important to note here is the Kronos on down here on the MIDI ports. You need to set the remote section to on. It's going to be off by default, and if it's off, I couldn't get my Kronos to send information to my computer or to Ableton with this remote function off. So make sure you have this remote function on. All right, that's all you need to set here is just put the Kronos as the input and the output for your control in your MIDI control surface. And then make sure you have the remote on for the keyboard on the Kronos. Okay? All right. We've got one more thing on the Kronos that we have to look at. All right. So let's say that we're in a gig and we have our sound set up. I'm just going to go into program mode. From our normal program mode or combi mode screen, you'll see down here at the bottom right, it says Control Surface. And if you push Control Surface, that opens up an entire menu dedicated to what the controls on the Kronos and that Control Surface are dedicated to. I want to do this out of program mode just to keep things as simple as possible. So we're going to go to program mode just by pushing the program button on the side, on the right side of the screen. We're going to go to Control Surface. Then from Control Surface, we're going to make sure that we have external selected. As you see on the side here, we have all of these tabs that correspond to different things that you can access while you're in control mode, Control Surface mode. All right. But we want to make sure ours is on external. All right, so here, remember I told you you had 127 different setups that you could recall in your Kronos. Well, we put ours. Let me go back and show you that. We put ours. We were working on external mode setup 000. Of course, remember you can select any one of these that you want to. Okay. All right, so back in control mode. Go back to program mode. We're on the Control Surface tab. And we're on external mode, and external mode here set. And then here we're on setup 000 because that's where we saved all of our information. And if you look across these tabs, each one of the tabs for the switches are just like we set them in global mode. The first switch is on 000, the second switch is on 001, all the way up to CC015. And then our faders are set CC016 up to CC024. So all of that information carried over from global mode. Okay. And as you see, if you change the setup, it'll go to whatever the settings are on that setup in global mode. But we're going to focus on the one on setup 000. Okay. Oh, and let me go back and show you this real quick while I'm thinking about it, because I don't want to forget. Just in case, because I have not tested this part for sure. But please save your global, right global settings to get to that. Once you set all this stuff up, because you don't want to lose it when you turn your keyboard off, just go to external, go to this tab, the drop down menu up here, push it down, and then go to right global settings, and then choose OK. And that will save your global settings. Okay? All right, so we'll go back to program mode. We're in Control Surface, we're in external, and we're on setup 000. And we see that all of our settings saved across. Okay? We're going to learn how to allow Ableton to hear or see or receive the information coming from the Kronos. And we're going to use a feature called Midi Learn. To get to Midi Learn, or what Midi Learn is Midi Learn is telling the computer that in order for me to complete a task, I need to learn what button you're going to push on your external MIDI device to tell the computer what to do. So you have to teach the computer, which is why they call it learn. You teach the computer that this is the message, this is the CC message that you look for in order to complete a specific objective. Over here on the right side of the screen, you have some little tabs. If you can see my cursor right here. But what we're going to do is we're going to push the MIDI tab, and it's going to turn your entire screen purple. That's Midi Learn mode is off when you don't see purple. Midi Learn mode is on when you see the purple. So what you do is you click like this area here. This is the area that we clicked. I'm turning Midi mode off, Learn mode off right now just to show you this. This is the area that we clicked to tell Ableton to play these certain sections. So if we want Ableton to play to launch the clips from row 3, we just push this button, push the play button. If we want it to play the clips in row 1, we push the play button in row 1. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to Midi Learn mode. We're going to push this button. And now the Kronos, now Ableton is waiting on us to push a button on our external MIDI device to tell it what button is going to be pushed to launch the clips in row 1. All right. I'm going to go on the Kronos and I'm going to push the first switch. All right. So I pushed the first switch, and now that's telling Ableton that whenever they push the first switch, I need to play the clips in row 1. All right. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to push row 2. So now it's waiting to hear what button I'm going to push to launch the clips in row 2. So I'm going to push the second switch. These are all the switches here that across here that I'm pushing. Switch 1, switch 2, switch 3, all the way. And then remember, these switches correlate to the switches in the control surface over here on the left side of the screen. Okay. So let's go back to Ableton. All right. So now we're going to push the third one, push the third switch. All right. I'm going to go to the fourth one, push the fourth switch. I'm going to push the button again, the fifth clip. I'm going to push the fifth button. You see it worked that time. Same thing with clip 6. I only have information in the first 4 areas, the first 4 rows. So the fifth and sixth buttons didn't matter, but I was just showing you guys that you could just keep going down your list until you've completed all of your rows. All right, so I only have information in row 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I just assigned row 1, 2, 3, and 4 to switch 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the Kronos. All right, and while we're here, I'm going to show you as well that you can also assign these faders the same thing, because we assign CC messages to our faders in the Kronos, and now we're just going to assign the same way. We're going to click the fader, and we're going to assign that fader to one of the faders in the Kronos. So I just click the faders here in the first column, and now I'm going to move the fader on the Kronos, and it assigns it, the fader, to this section. All right, I'm going to do the first 3 of these. All right. Okay, so now after we've set up all of the information, all of the MIDI learning or all the MIDI teaching that we're trying to show Ableton in the computer that we're doing, we want to make sure to hit this MIDI button to turn Midi Learn mode off again. So now the Kronos has been set up to use switches 1, 2, 3, and 4 and fader 1, 2, and 3 to send MIDI information from the Kronos to Ableton. So now when I push the buttons on the Kronos, it should automatically tell Ableton that, okay, do you remember what we taught you during the Midi Learn section? Now, when I push those buttons, I want you to do what we told you to do. So let's check this out and let's see what happens. Okay, so we're going to push the first switch. Okay, so you see they work. Each one of the switches. Now, something that I did just notice is that I had to push the switches twice, I guess, to turn them from off to on in order for it to send the message. So you can play with that on yours. I'm not sure if that's because of something, the way I set it or not. But just if it's off, the switches are either off or on. So it's either sending the information or it's not sending the information. So you have to make sure if the switch is off, and you push it to turn it back on, okay? All right, everybody, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. Today we learned how to take the Korg Kronos and use the control surface to send MIDI CC messages to Ableton Live, and now your Chronos should be launching clips and scenes in your Ableton software. Like always, please like, subscribe, and share this video. If you have any questions or comments, please put it in the comments below. Also, feel free to put any information about any content or information that you'd like to see videos done on. If you have any questions about your Chronos or any of your other flagship keyboards here at Majestic Studios, we can help you with that.